It's hard to believe that the year 2020 has finally come to an end. Am I right? Well, for the most part, 2020 sucked. But there was some positive news when it came to camera gear. There were so many new cameras released this year and some other great gear as well. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at some of the top 5 purchases I made to upgrade my gear this year and one piece of gear that I was very disappointed in. Anyways, let's get started. First off, thanks for joining me. I'm Dave and this is Red Arrow Media. I want to start off this video with a bit of a disclaimer. This was not a normal year for anyone, and this was definitely not a normal year for me when it came to buying or purchasing new camera gear. I really upgraded my gear this year, mainly because I was able to take on a few extra freelance jobs this year and extra income came in. For me, I only buy new gear if I earn money as a freelancer to buy that new gear. This way I'm not taking money away from the family. So I made more money this year as a freelancer, so I was able to buy some new gear. I don't want this video to come off of me bragging about my new gear because it has been years since I bought any new gear or upgraded my gear at all. Fair enough? Let's go. So I'm going to go in order of my favorite gear that I picked up in the year 2020. We're going to start at number 5 and work my way to number 1. First up is the Osmo Mobile 3. It's a great little camera gimbal that allows you to quickly hook up your camera phone to get a smooth shot as a gimbal. A nice smooth gimbal shot. It works great and it's very easy to use, which is very important to me. My work purchased the same gimbal so that we can take some quick shots and do some quick shoots for our station, and I saw some value in that, so I picked up my own. I actually got it on sale just as the Osmo Mobile 4 was coming out. I think the quality is pretty good, but you are at the mercy of your camera phone. So basically, if your camera phone sucks, well, your footage isn't going to be that great. Right around this time, I had to upgrade my old LG G6 phone, so I picked up the Google Pixel 4. It's a great phone with a great camera. I was going back and forth between the Pixel 4 and the iPhone 11 Pro at the time. I was used to the Android setup, so that with the fact that I got a really good deal on the Pixel 4 made it an easy decision. And the Pixel 4 works really well with the Osmo Mobile 3. However, I'm still not quite happy with the quality of the phone camera. I have used the iPhone 11 Pro, which is also a very good phone camera, and it works really well. It has a great image, but for me the quality just isn't there and doesn't really compare to a mirrorless camera or a DSLR. Okay, the next thing on my list is the DJI Osmo Action. This was one of those purchases that I made because it was on sale. A pretty good sale, as a matter of fact. I bought it from Costco, and I'm a big fan of buying camera gear from Costco if I can. They don't have a lot of choice sometimes. But if there's any issue at all, Costco will take care of it, and I love that fact. So far, I have not had to return any gear at all to Costco, but I like knowing the fact that they will take care of me if there was a problem. That's a big plus for me. Anyways, enough of my Costco commercial. Now, the Osmo Action is great. It has great quality, it's compact, and it's a very good action camera. I find that I was using a GoPro a lot more often, so I figured it was time to upgrade from my GoPro Hero. That's right, the original GoPro Hero way back in the day. It's super old. So the upgrade to the Osmo Action was awesome. One of the greatest things about this camera is that it's so simple to use. There's no switching lenses, there's no focus issues to deal with. It just works, and sometimes you need a camera that just works. I love the fact that it shoots 4K at 60 frames per second. It can also shoot extreme slow motion, which is great. The rock steady, which is the stabilizer, is very good. It does a fantastic job. It's such a great little camera, but to be honest, I do not love using it. I don't love using any action camera. For me, it's a very specific job that this action camera, and it's great. It does that job. I just don't love using any action camera. For me, it does a very specific job, and that's great, but it's not a lot of fun to use. I use it all the time, but I don't really enjoy using it. It's like a vacuum. It does a great job, but I don't really enjoy using it. Even those Dysons, which are kind of nice. Anyways, I'm getting off point here. Moving on to number 3 of my list of favorite gear that I got this year is the Mavic Mini. Now, this is a great little drone by DJI. It was the first drone I've ever purchased. In fact, it was a Father's Day gift for me from my wife and kids. Thanks, guys. I used drones before, but this was my first personal drone. I wanted a drone for a while now, and I wanted a drone that I didn't have to go through all the hoops to get my license, my permits to fly that drone here in Canada. Well, the Mavic Mini is just light enough, barely, that you really don't need to get your drone's pilot license. It's probably still a good idea and it's something I'll look into, but you don't need to get one. I love the fact that the Mini is so easy to use. It doesn't take very long to get it set up and flying. Now, I wish it shot 4K 60 frames per second, but it does shoot 2.7K, which is pretty decent quality for a drone of this size. I recommend this drone to anyone that wants to get into droning or is interested in getting into droning. It will give you a lot of great features in a small package. It's not too expensive. I mean, if this little guy flies away or crashes into a tree, not me yet, knock on wood, it will not be that expensive to replace. Well, compared to other drones, of course. Now, I know there's a lot of other better drones out there, and the fact that the Mavic Mini 2 is also out this year, but I'm pretty happy with the Mavic Mini so far, and I am sure that I will eventually upgrade to a bigger drone at some point, but right now, the Mavic Mini does a great job, and I'm really happy with it. Okay, number 2 is not a DJI product at all. Big shock, hey? Listen, my first DJI product that I bought was over 2 years ago, and it was the Osmo Pocket. Before that, I didn't buy any products from DJI at all. So there. Number 2 on my list is not a DJI product. It is a Sigma product, and it's the Sigma 30mm lens for your APS-C sensor. Now, my main camera is the Sony a6400, and last year I purchased the Sigma 16mm lens, and it was great. I was really impressed with it. So I found the Sigma 30mm lens for sale. It was actually used, but it was in great condition, and I got a good deal on it. So, perfect for me. It was really a great lens, and that's why I ranked it higher on my list than the Mavic Mini, which I really do love. I really do love using it. The Sigma 30 has an aperture of f1.4, which is amazing for a tiny little lens like this. It's pretty sharp for both photos and video, and the autofocus works really well, especially considering it's not a Sony lens. The bokeh on this is incredible, and while I still love the Sigma 16, the Sigma 30 is right up there with it. It is small and it's lightweight, so it works really, really well on a gimbal. So in all, I love this lens. And if you're looking for a decent, affordable lens for your APS-C camera, you can't go wrong with the Sigma 30mm lens. I'm actually shooting with it right now. Okay, so the number 1 piece of gear on my list, drum roll please. We can't afford a drum roll. Yeah, I get that. Moving on, my number 1 purchase of the year is the DJI Pocket 2. Now, this is an upgrade to the original Osmo Pocket. The original Osmo Pocket was my all-time favorite camera to use. Now, it was not the best quality camera that I have used, but it was definitely the most fun to use. It was such a little odd camera with a tiny little gimbal. It was so easy to use, and it shot 4K 60 frames per second, which is great. Anyways, when the Pocket 2 came out, I wasn't really sure if I was going to upgrade. I mean, I was still happy with the original. I mean, I followed every single video out there on the Pocket 2, and I wasn't sure if the upgrade and the features was enough for me to make the jump to the Pocket 2. Well, we all know how this story ends. Yes, I bought the Pocket 2. I was able to sell my original Osmo Pocket, so buying the new camera wasn't that much more expensive. The Pocket 2 does have plenty of upgrades, and for me, the best feature for sure is the larger sensor. Having a bigger sensor should give you a better image, and the camera does give you a better image, so that's great. The larger image will also give you some help in those low light situations. Another great feature is the audio on the Pocket 2. It's night and day compared to the Osmo Pocket. The lens has a better aperture, and the lens is also a little bit wider. So if you're vlogging with this camera, that's going to help and make things look a lot better. Now, I'm a professional television producer, and I use some very high-end cameras. But I have used the Pocket 2 on some of my professional broadcasts. The image quality is good enough, and if you use it properly, you're going to have some fantastic looking footage. I also think it's the perfect travel or family camera. So small, and the quality is perfect for those situations. Okay, so I went over my top 5 list, but earlier I mentioned that there was one piece of gear that I was rather disappointed in. I actually mentioned it earlier on, but my biggest disappointment was using a camera phone as a B camera. See, I was really hoping I could use a camera phone to get the shots of me using different gear or shots of me walking and talking and vlogging as a B camera. Now, I have the Pixel 4 as I mentioned, and it's a great camera phone, but no matter the phone, I'm just not happy using a camera phone as my B camera. I took a shot and tried it out, it just doesn't work. For some of you, maybe your camera phone is your main camera and that's great and it works well for you and that's fantastic. But for me, I'm still looking for that perfect B camera. So for me, I bought a lot of new gear this year. I'm sure that some of you have purchased more gear than I did, and that's great. But like I said, generally I only upgrade my gear when I need to. There were some great cameras that came out this year. It was actually pretty odd that how many cameras came out in the year of which we had a pandemic. It was very, very odd. Some of the cameras that I was really interested in, the Sony a7S III, which a lot of us were waiting on. But if I had to really put my money, I think I would upgrade to the Sony FX6 or the Canon C70. Now, both these cameras have great video quality. They have built-in ND filters, which I love, and built-in XLRs for audio. Yes, please. But another great thing about these cameras is the fact that they're much smaller than most cinematic cameras, which is a big plus for me. And for me, I'm not a Sony or a Canon guy. Whichever camera works for you, fantastic. So what about you? Did you purchase any gear this year that you're really excited about? Or maybe you're looking to upgrade some of your gear next year? Let me know in the comments. I would love to talk about that. I love talking about gear. Now, before I finish up the video, I'd like to mention that I am changing things up a little bit here on the channel. I've had this channel for about 15 or 16 months, and I actually just hit the 1,000 subscriber mark. So if you are a subscriber, thank you very much. If you haven't subscribed yet, that's okay. Hopefully you can watch some of my videos and you decide to subscribe. That's great. Anyways, changes, right? We'll get back to the point. Anyways, I will be changing the name of my channel. I'm going to go with my name, Dave Davies. Yes, that is my real name. The channel right now, or currently, is Red Arrow Media, which is the same name as my production company. So I kind of just wanted to keep those separate for my production company name and my YouTube name. So starting soon, this channel will go by my name, Dave Davies. Now, it'll have the same content that you're used to, the same stale and bad jokes. Sorry about that. Anyways, thanks for watching. I appreciate taking the time. I really hope everyone has a great 2021 because you deserve it. See ya.